Hey there, can you hear me?
Hey, Matt. Okay, great. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Ward 4 Councilmember Janeese Lewis George, Chair of the Committee on Facilities and Family Services. It is 12:38 p.m. on Thursday, December 19th. I'm calling this additional meeting to order. For the record, I note we have quorum consisting of Ward 5, Zachary Parker, and Ward 3, Councilmember Matthew Fruman. Ward 1 Councilmember Brianna Doe. We are holding this meeting fully virtual format. The meeting is also broadcast live on my website at janeeseward4.com/live. Today, the committee will consider and vote on the Council Period 25 Committee Activity Report of the Committee on Facilities and Family Services. I am proud of both the quantity and quality of the work done by this committee over the last 2 years in the form of oversight, legislation, and budgeting in the areas of facilities, child welfare, and disability. While we may have been a Frankenstein committee, often referring to ourselves as FFS, the subject matters of agencies and issues under our jurisdiction vary greatly. I am confident we improve the lives of district residents and employees who utilize government spaces, of district children and families involved in our child welfare system, and of district residents, employees, and visitors with disabilities. I want to highlight the Council Period 25 accomplishments of this committee as documented in this report. Starting with facilities, we made significant progress in improving facilities processes and outcomes for people who utilize government spaces, particularly for our DCPS schools and DPR recreation centers, which are all managed by the Department of General Services. Over the last 2 years, we have conducted dozens of facilities tours of schools, recreation centers, senior centers, shelters, police and fire stations, and youth detention facilities across all 8 wards. During these tours, we saw buildings that are unsafe, unclean, unsecure, and inaccessible. And we also heard directly from employees, students, educators, seniors, emergency responders, and residents about how poor facilities conditions can adversely impact their daily lives and the vital services they provide. Those insights gained during these tours were invaluable to guiding this committee's oversight, legislative, and budgetary actions. We passed the Work Order Integrity Amendment Act, which required more training, enhanced communication, better opportunity for feedback, and stronger quality assurance to improve the maintenance of our government spaces. We also confirmed Delano Hunter to serve as the director of DGS. While there are still many opportunities of improvement for DGS, notable progress has been made under Director Hunter, and I look forward to seeing how the agency advances in the future. In the fiscal year 2024 budget, we funded the Greener Government Buildings Amendment Act, which required net zero energy compliance and new and substantially improved publicly owned, leased, and financed buildings and projects. I look forward to continuing to protect the district's climate commitments in years to come. We also added funding to hire more maintenance supervisors and trades employees and shifted budgeted funding to support modernization and small capital projects around the district. In the fiscal year 2024 Budget Support Act, we expanded the type of 311 services requests to include broken equipment, grounds maintenance, and overflowing recycling cans at schools, parks, or playgrounds. We require DGS to provide periodic updates to the council regarding maintenance of certain public school security features, mainly our locks and doors. We require DGS to conduct a comprehensive assessment of security features at least once per year in all DCPS facilities. In the fiscal year 25 budget, we added 1 million dedicated for work order reduction, including 300,000 specifically for lock and door repairs in DC public schools. In the fiscal year 2025 BSA, we require DGS to report additional information, including all open maintenance work orders on the public order dashboard, make all data posted on dashboard available for download, provide adequate access to Salesforce to client agency staff and the committee, assign work order requests to repair interior doors in DCPS facilities as high priority work orders, publish the result of an annual school readiness checklist, and publish an annual maintenance plan to drive its preventative, routine, and reactive maintenance work. These changes will improve the cleanliness of parks, school security, and readiness, and more broadly, the level of transparency with which the public and the council can engage with DGS's work. Over two budgets, we made over 40 policy recommendations for DGS on how to enhance transparency, communication, and processes and procedures to foster better facilities conditions in district spaces. I am proud of the work we've been able to do under our facilities branch alongside the Department of General Services and alongside my amazing colleagues, particularly Councilmember Fruman, Councilmember Parker, and who showed up at many of these walkthroughs and were a valuable addition to our policy recommendations, especially as it relates to oversight. Family services was a joy to have in this committee. And because I learned so much and gained so much valuable insight from the many amazing service providers, the amazing volunteers and support staff, and from the Child Family Services Agency and the Office of the Ombudsman for Children. Our child welfare system, which is administered by CFSA and overseen by the Office of Ombudsman Children, provide additional resources and supports to caregivers, families, and youth in care and custody of the district. Some of the most hardworking people in the district government, with one of the hardest jobs, one of the most important jobs. Within this committee, we passed the Losing Outdated Violent Exceptions Amendment Act, which repealed the 96 religious exemption to district's definition of child neglect, so no child is ever denied necessary medical care due to their parents' religious beliefs. We also passed the Child and Family Services Agency Investigation Completion Amendment Act. And finally, the committee passed the Luggage for All Youth and Foster Care Amendment Act of 2024, also known as Lisa's Law, as well. In the fiscal year 2024 budget, we provided 2 additional employees to the Office of Ombudsman for Children, just so their operations could grow and be greater. And we're really proud of the work the Office of Ombudsman of Children have done, especially with the work of Patrina, who came in, Jace, who has come in and done a really phenomenal job with the agent, with building that particular group of individuals who are doing a great job. We restored $1.3 million of fully fund Safe Shores program. I hope that we don't have to continue to restore this. I hope this is last year, but $1.3 million was done for Safe Shores. We added $300,000 to home visiting programs, which are critical parts of our ecosystem. We added $300,000 to our collaboratives and our family success centers, which really do the meaty work of helping families and navigating this government and getting families the resources they need. We funded Preserving Our Kids Through Equity, Through Trust, and Fostering Stable Housing Opportunities Act, which requires CFSA to set aside federal funding for youth in care, so youth are no longer forced to pay for their own care and have a nest egg, when they leave care. In the fiscal year 2025 budget, we restored $1.35 million to fully fund Safe Shores, and made additional investments in home visiting, the collaboratives, our grandparent caregiver, and our close relative as well. And I want to thank Councilmember Parker. This is one of our joint successes here, which is, the income eligibility and subsidy amount determinations for the grandparent caregiver program and close relative caregiver program. We were able to exclude supplemental security income from that income eligibility amount, which went to go further bridge the disparity in financial assistance between foster parents and grandparents and close care relative caregivers as well. These changes will allow more district caregivers to apply for and receive benefits from these life-changing programs. Over the 2 budgets, we made 20 policy recommendations for CFSA and the Office of Ombudsman for Children on how to improve processes, data collection, transparency, and outcomes for youth and families involved in the child welfare system. It has been an honor and privilege to have and do the work that we've been able to do as a committee to improve our family services and child welfare agencies. And I look forward to the great work they are going to continue to do. And then lastly, turning to the disability space, this committee made important investments into and conducted an president level of oversight of the important district agencies that are responsible for providing services and protecting the rights of people with disabilities. In the fiscal year 24 budget, we added $200,000 to Rehabilitation Services Administration to establish and execute best practices for being a model employer for people with disabilities and addressing racial disparities in employment among people with disabilities. In 2025, we restored $900,000 for the administrative fee for disability service providers and restored $416,000 for the clothing allowance for human care agreements. People with disabilities should never be forced to sacrifice what little the government provides them, no matter how tight the budget is. I hope we all can do better in the next budget. We also conducted robust oversight into the Randolph Shepherd Vending Facilities program because participating blind vendors have struggled to receive the respect, dignity, and resources they are entitled to and deserve for far too long. I look forward to seeing this culture and operation of this program under new leadership. For the Office of Disability Rights, I want to thank working for this agency and the work they've done. We thoroughly assess the level of accessibility of district government spaces and services. The guiding principle of this oversight was my fundamental belief that accessibility is not a buzzword, and it's not just a legal requirement, but it's a moral imperative. By reviewing agencies' Americans with Disability Act evaluations and compliance plans, we found where the district needs to improve its accessibility and determine true accessibility and compliance will require more investigations by the Office of Disability Rights. From elevators to ramps to interpreter services, we made clear compliance with the ADA should be the floor and not the ceiling of the district's levels of accessibility. During our oversight, I was glad Office of Disability Rights and DGS began working collaboratively to take a new approach to addressing and prioritizing work orders for accessibility issues. For the Mayor's Office of Deaf, Blind, and Hard of Hearing in the fiscal year 25 budget, we transferred the responsibility of processing and fulfilling requests for American Sign Language interpretation and live captioning services from the Council's Office of Secretary to the Mayor's Office of Disability, Deaf, Blind, and Hard of Hearing. Doing so, we will promote greater accessibility of council hearings and meetings for our deaf, blind, deaf disabled, latent disabled, and hard of hearing district residents. Across the three disability agencies in both budgets, we made 40 policy recommendations about protecting the rights of promoting accessibility and for enhancing services to people with disabilities. I look forward to seeing the way all of the agencies in these clusters continue to do outstanding work for district residents. Again, some of the most dedicated directors and staff for all of these agencies do the work for the most important district residents, and that work should continue. I want to thank everyone who made the work of this committee possible. I thank the members of this committee, Council members Matt Fruman, Brianna Doe, Zachary Parker, and Robert White, as well as their talented staffs for their active participation in hearings and engagements on issues before the committee, especially when I had everybody running across the district to do multiple tours everywhere. I thank the Office of Secretary, particularly Dawn Evans, for her tireless work to ensure committee hearings were accessible by coordinating requests for ADA accommodations, and the entire service team for making virtual and in-person and hybrid hearings run smoothly. I want to thank General Counsel and particularly David Go for his sound legal guidance and assistance with legislative drafting. And I want to thank the Office of the Budget Director and especially Kyra Smith for her outstanding ability to find funds, even in tight budgets, and her diligent analysis of agencies' performance and budget data. Finally, I want to thank my current and former committee and legislative staff, Will Perkins, former committee director, Nikita Easley, former deputy committee director, Tosha Skolnick, former legislative assistant, Joanna Blotner, legislative director, Will Singer, former senior legislative advisor, and our current staff, Emily Casimotis, senior counsel. And I can't say this enough, Sebastian Wyman, who our deputy committee director, who handled this portfolio so amazingly and really cared deeply from his heart, and came in and said, I want to do the work on the portfolio for family services and disability rights. I feel passionately about this, and I believe we can make change. And Sebastian, I believe we did make that change because of your hard work, your diligent research, your willingness to be on the ground. And I want to thank you and commend you for your amazing leadership and service. And of course, I have to especially grateful to Will Perkins for passionately and effectively leading this committee as the committee director. Will deeply believe district government facilities should be safe, secure, clean, welcoming, accessible, and sustainable. He had a vision for how to make our facilities live up to those values. by reimagining what transparency, communication processes, and budgeting should look like in the realm of constructing and maintaining government facilities. Even though Will departed this committee and council for the benefit of growing his family, and is now serving Richmond City in this same role. He's a one-of-a-kind public servant whose service greatly benefit the government, the council, and the residents of Ward 4 and the District of Columbia, especially through his significant contributions to education and facility legislations and budget. I now would like to move and open the floor to discussion on the Council Period 25 Committee Activity Report of the Committee on Facilities and Family Services, and recognize my colleagues if they have any remarks.
Chairwoman Lewis George.
Councilman Parker.
Thank you. I want to congratulate you for leading this committee and doing so in a very collaborative way. I'll just highlight two areas. DGS, and there's quite a bit of work still to do within the agency, but I think under your leadership, we've been able to focus on preventative maintenance and the need for preventative maintenance in a way that we hadn't done before. There's also been a very deliberate and reoccurring focus on maintenance requests at schools and our DPR facilities throughout Ward 5, certainly, but throughout the city. And I think that is because of your leadership as well. I also think about CFSA and the hearings that we've had. It's another agency where there's still a bit of work to do. But I just, from truancy to ensuring that we close the gap and the loopholes that serve as a pipeline between those in foster care and DRS. I just really appreciate your focus and attention to the families and the communities that need support the most. So that is all I wanted to add. I look forward to approving this committee report, but again, think you have a lot to be proud of.
Thank you so much. Thank you for working together with us.
Chairwoman Lewis George, Chairwoman Lewis George, if I can chime in for just a second.
Absolutely, Councilman Furman.
So some of the themes are the same. The work that you have done and the committee has done on behalf of some of our most vulnerable residents is really inspiring. And I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to be a part of it and really grateful for your leadership. But the one that for me, given my experience over the years, that really jumps off the page is the work with DGS. I've been active on schools issues for 15 plus years, had children in DCPS schools dating back, I guess, 30 years now. And the performance, doing the school readiness tours, the year before last was the best I had ever seen. It's got a long way to go, but it was the best I'd ever seen up to that point. And this year was even better. The trend line is stark, and it really starts with your leadership. And so I am so grateful for the work that you have done and led in that area. And I think it has made a giant difference for students and families around the city. So thank you very much for everything that you've done. Thank you for everything that the committee and staff has done. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Matt. You've been an amazing addition to this committee, and I couldn't thank you and your staff enough for the ways in which you've shown up, supported, and helped. And so it's been an honor and a pleasure. At this time, I move the Council Period 25 Committee Activity Report of the Committee on Facilities and Family Services with leave for staff to make technical, conforming, and editorial changes. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, please indicate by saying no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion passes. With the final business before this committee having concluded, the time is now 12:56 p.m. and the last meeting of the Committee on Facilities and Family Services is adjourned.
Thank you. See you later.
Thank you.